Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Lorraine Murphy Show. So this week I am continuing our conversation that we've been having every episode or so over the last couple of months. And we're still going to be talking about goals. However, rather than talking about setting goals and mapping out your business strategy, your personal strategy for the year, I want to spend some time talking about how to stay on track with your 2026 goals. I find at this time of the year, as this episode's going out, it's going to be Friday, the 30th of January. And I think people at this stage they're in two different camps. Camp one is, okay, my year's actually starting now. Maybe if you've got kids, school holidays are done. I'm back in the flow at work. Now I'm going to really get stuck into my goals. And then there's a whole other camp who have worked really diligently on setting their goals and getting really clear on their KPIs for the year. And month one of 2026 is almost done. And they go, oh, God. I kind of liken it as it's almost like that New Year sparkle may have dulled a little for some of you. And when you're in that beautiful spaciousness between Christmas and New Year, and you had a blank canvas to plan with 2026 and no meetings and no kids to get to school or whatever it might be, maybe you were quite ambitious with setting your goals. So your goals can absolutely still happen this year. What we want to do is layer in some really active steps to help you actually stay on track with them and follow through with them. I often say that the paper your goals are written on are worthless if you don't actually have a plan to stay accountable and make them happen. So what I'm going to be touching on in today's episode is some really simple tips on how you can reconnect with your 2026 goals in a way that feels really sustainable, really supportive, and really spacious for you personally as well. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, I guess is what I'm saying. So the first focus in terms of staying on track with your 2026 goals is really reminding yourself that energy management, it's a plan, it's not a perk. I think one of the huge mistakes, particularly that female founders make that I see in my community, is really kind of building in the rest time, the integration time, the relaxing when everything is done. And as most of you listening will know, the shit is never all done. There's always something else to do and consider and plan for and make happen. So I really want to invite you at this point in 2026 to factor in your energy management for the year right now. And reminding yourself that your goals aren't going to fail because you didn't care enough. What's more likely to happen is your goals will fail or you won't make them happen because you didn't rest enough. So this is something that I take very, very seriously every year, because what I see happening with female founders is they don't run out of steam because the goals that they had weren't aligned. They run out of steam because they completely burn themselves out. I had a mentee talking a few years ago, and she said, we're in an energy management session in a retreat that I was hosting with her and a couple of other mentees. And she said, oh my gosh, I've just realized I've been trying to sprint the marathon. So we don't want to do that, everyone. We want to create very distinct sprints within our year and recovery time in between those sprints. So how I see this, it's really planning your energy management in advance. So I've got one of my mentees who has a 2-night overnight in a hotel every quarter for herself, and that's time for her to look at her 90-day plan forward, have some recharge time, some uninterrupted sleep, some time to think and do and plan. Wade and I have our quarterly overnights, so we plan those in as a relationship goal every quarter to have an overnight in a hotel every quarter. I also plan in all my retreats at the start of the year. I'm knee deep in planning all our holidays for the rest of the year. So really getting very intentional and organized about booking this time in your calendar. What happens if you don't book it in is that other people will book that time in for you. So it is so incredibly important to set that time in your calendar, lock that time in your calendar, and it's almost like protecting your time and your energy, because if your calendar is anything like mine, people are all too keen to put stuff in it, and I get booked out quite quickly. My ops manager, Sam, is very on it. She's like the pit bull that protects my calendar. So if I don't book this time in at the start of the year, it's so much less likely to happen. Plus, it almost insures me against myself, because if I don't book the time in advance, I'll find a work project to do or something to do personally that prevents me from having that rest and recharge time. The other reason that I really love booking in energy replenishment time in advance is that I get to look forward to it. I'm planning this hot girl Euro summer trip in July. I'm planning an amazing holiday across Perth and Bali with my Irish family at the end of the year. And I'm so excited for them. So once everything's booked in, the hotel bookings are booked, the flights are organized, everyone knows what's happening, the itineraries are set, then you just get to enjoy it and look forward to it. And I often say to women who book my Bali retreat, they might be kind of sitting on the fence or deciding if this is the year for them, whatever it might be. And they'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to book. I'm definitely coming. I'm going to book. And I say, just get it booked ASAP, because then you get to start looking forward to it. Like, that's almost, I think, half the ROI from doing a retreat comes from the time just knowing that it's coming and the anticipation and the excitement of knowing that is coming. So getting this energy management time booked in advance is such an incredibly helpful way at ensuring that your goals become a reality over this year. And really inviting you to see, holidays, if it's a quarterly offsite, if it's just a day for yourself every quarter, they're not luxuries. They are the infrastructure. It's the energy management infrastructure that enables you to keep showing up and doing all the amazing things that you want to do this year. The second point that I want to make when it comes to making your goals a reality is to intentionally, and again in advance, build in strategic checkpoints for yourself. So I've designed something called the Elevated Founder Cadence, and it's part of my Elevated Strategy method. So what I've actually created is it's almost a pulse for you to operate within your business on an annual basis, a quarterly basis, monthly basis, weekly, and right down into daily. So when we can actually create that kind of those checkpoints, it means that we have the time to really truly evaluate, okay, where are things at? What's moving forward? What am I feeling blocked on? What was a really good idea at the start of the year, but actually based on different developments this year, it feels like my priorities have shifted and maybe you want to get back in alignment. And then you get to course correct. You get to plan forward again. So the rhythm that I recommend to my mentees, it's the rhythm that I've worked with myself and my business for 12, 13 years now, is to work within quarterly plans. So I set my goals for the year. They're all set and locked in. And then I plan a quarterly plan. So that's built up of 5 different rocks, which is essentially like your key priorities for the year, for the quarter. And I get very, very granular and very, very specific on what exactly I'm going to do within that quarter, of course, alongside the team. So that becomes essentially my Bible for the next 90 days. I don't think about anything else after that 90 days. I'm just head down, bum up, focused on this next 90 days. And then there's a checkpoint then. So I plan my quarters every quarter. So obviously it's time, as I said, to reflect, to recalibrate, reset, plan forward again. So planning in those checkpoints for yourself, you can have that time to pause, review what worked, what didn't work, and then really refocus and re-energize for the next quarter. I have found in the past, I have tried to set annual goals or annual business strategies. It doesn't work for me, and I've seen it not work for many, many women in my community, because what happens is we set these airy-fairy goals at the start of the year, and then we might go, oh, I'm just not going to get to it in January, or no, February's a bit busy, I'll pick it up in March. Maybe we do a little bit in April, and then there's some kind of curveball, and we pick it up again in July, maybe August. And then what happens often is you get towards the end of the year and you go, oh shit, the year's almost over. Well, I'll just move it all into next year. So there's too much space in a year. And what I really love about that 90-day cadence is that it gives you enough time and space to actually get some pretty significant things done. You've got 3 months, but not so much time and space that you're going to lose momentum. So planning in those 90-day reviews and planning in that energy check-in and recharge is really, really key. I could not have an annual plan and just go hell for leather for the whole year. I would find it so incredibly exhausting. For everything I've already shared, for the reasons I've already shared, but also because if I just had this massive to-do list, I would just never feel like I was moving forward. And the beautiful thing about the 90-day rhythm is that you get time to celebrate and give yourself a pat on the back. And if things didn't get done, it's okay. There's a couple of things I'll move into next quarter. It's just a lot more sustainable. It's almost like that baked in sustainable energy for me within that quarterly rhythm. The third thing I want to say, and I know at the start of the year, many of you have probably got these amazing intentions. You've got intentions across your health, intentions across your businesses, across your relationships, parenting, your home, travel, all of the things. And it can get very, very overwhelming. Something I did, and it's a prompt that I want to share with you as part of this week's episode as well. I loaded all my goals into ChatGPT, and I told ChatGPT what my word for the year is, which is peak health across every area of my life and business. And I said to Chat, based on everything you know about me and the goals that I want to achieve, and that my theme for this year is peak health, what do you see as the 3 main watchouts for me this year? So what are the things that are going to pull me off course, that are going to drain my energy, that are going to distract me, yet leave me in a place of, just not focused and not energized and not clear and not motivated to make these goals happen? And Chat came back with 3 incredibly powerful watchouts for me. And one of them, which I thought was so helpful, Chat warned me about falling into system overload in 2026. And what Chat explained was that if you're going for peak health, Lorraine, across your finances, across your business, across your physical health, across your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your home, travel, so much. Chat said you can actually overload your system. Trying to reach absolute peak performance in every single one of those all at the same time, it's a recipe for disaster, essentially. So what Chat suggested, and I strongly agreed with, was choosing, okay, what are the couple of focuses going to be, the couple of areas of life or business that are going to be the biggest focuses for maybe a month at a time or a quarter at a time? And then what of the other areas of my goals can fall more into like a maintenance mode? So not that I'm completely neglecting them or doing sweet F all on them, but they're just more kind of ticking along, waiting for their time to be the main priority. So what I've decided for 2026, my Q1, like the main the real peak health focuses for me in this quarter are physical health. So getting some physical health goals moving ahead. And then also my business. So really setting the business up with a really, really strong foundation, almost like front loading the energy of 2026 for the business. So they're my 2. The other things are happening. The quarterly overnight with Wade is booked in. The Lexi Mama trip is booked in. Wilder is starting his soccer. It's all still moving, but they're not the main number 1 priorities. And I actually feel like that is going to be so helpful for me in terms of managing my energy this year. And of course, in doing so, executing on all of the goals, the incredible goals that I've set and that I'm so excited to make happen. So think for you, where do you need to almost introduce some layering with your goals? Rather than trying to go and make absolutely every single thing happen straight away, what are the most pressing layers, like the ones that you really want to front load the year with? And what are the ones that maybe could come in a little bit later? And also, even within the individual areas of your goals, layering them throughout the year. So give you an example, right? So my Q1 rock within physical health is to go on this metabolic diet. So Wade's done it towards the end of last year. He's had amazing results. I'm doing it this quarter. So that involves going and having an appointment with a naturopath, having my bloods done, getting a full report of all the different foods that my body loves most and maybe which ones don't work so well for my body, figuring out, okay, what's my meal plan going to be, prepping that, and then rolling into it. So that's probably going to take the guts of 3 months before, I'm fully into that new lifestyle and that way of eating. Then Q2, my next focus is there's a particular modality that I want to try in terms of physical health. It's like a patch technology that I want to explore, but I don't want to do that at the same time as the diet because then I won't know, okay, which one is actually really giving me the uplift and I'm feeling the difference from. And then in Q3 then, I will be doing a full health assessment. So doing the bloods, all of the things. So that's what I mean about layering your goals throughout the year. We don't have to go and smash everything in the first quarter because that's going to be quite overwhelming and exhausting. And what happens is when we get overwhelmed and we get exhausted, then we go, oh, fuck it, this goal is too hard. I'm just going to move on to the next one. I'm just going to drop it all together. So we really want to set ourselves up for success as much as we possibly can, supporting ourselves to win with our goals. So layering slowly, don't overload yourself, essentially. The last thing I want to touch on as well is adding accountability in for yourself, but making that accountability stick. I really love this quote that I found recently, and it said, "A goal without a witness is just a wish." So it's an invitation for you this year with the incredible goals that you've set for yourself. How can you socialize those goals? Who can you share them with that you know will ask you, "Oh, how's that going?" That's the reason that I create a podcast episode every year with some of my key goals, because I want that public accountability. I want someone to ask me, "So how's that goal going?" Obviously, you can also layer in accountability with a business coach or a mentor. So I'm, of course, highly accountable to my own coach, and she's watching me and making sure that, I'm saying what I'm not making sure as in she's going to do it for me. But I respect her so much, and I trust the work that we're doing so much that I want to do the work and I want to test if it's working. And it's almost one of my missions is when I do have a coaching session or a mentoring session myself, is to kick something into action within 24 hours so that I can really embed in that behavior change and also test if, okay, well, we thought this would work. Is it working? Is it not? And so on. So maybe for you, it is a coach, it's a mentor, it's a mastermind, it's an accountability buddy that you can buddy up with within my group. So I've got a top tier group called my Magnificence Program, which is my top tier mentees. I've also got my Bold Darling VIP group. So within those two group containers, I layer in accountability with that group. So on our monthly calls, I ask each of them to share what the one thing, just the very, very specific thing that they are going to make happen between that particular call and a month later, the session a month later. And then I type them all up into a WhatsApp message in our group chats, and I pin them at the top. And that is the message that I consult when we next get on the next monthly session. So how can you create that accountability for yourself? Is there a particular group or a mastermind that you want to connect with this year to give yourself that gift of more accountability? Really, really invite you to do that. It can be incredibly powerful. And really what we're thinking about, it's self-trust. You are backing yourself so much that you are going to tell someone else, this is what I'm going to do, in the trust that they will keep you accountable as well. So there's some ideas for you on how you can really stay on track with your goals this year in 2026. I am so excited for the show this year and also the different mentoring offers that I have this year as well for you. If you haven't already got my elevated strategy method, I strongly suggest that you check it out. So this is me essentially stepping you through stage by stage my whole business and personal strategy process. There's an incredible playbook which is jam-packed with brand new worksheets. There's a visualization attached to it. There's also some really premium coaching videos where I actually step you through the concepts and why I'm asking you to do what I'm asking you to do. And then I've also done little videos stepping you through every single worksheet. So it genuinely is the next best thing to sitting in a room with me. So you can grab that. It's on my website. I'll pop a link in the show notes as well. And if you use code LMSHOW, it will get you $50 off that program as well. It's actually for the playbook. I've been using it in all of my top tier mentoring sessions. So I've been running these VIP days and 24-hour immersions for my top tier mentees all this month in January. And I've brought the playbook along and we've been using it throughout the entire session. So if you want to access my mentoring and my strategy know-how for an absolute fraction of the price, I really, really strongly recommend that program. It's pretty awesome. I'm really, really proud of it. So just as a reminder, as we close, that your goals, they don't fail because they're not important. They slip because you don't make them sustainable to actually show up and make them happen. So as a reminder, pre-plan your energy, break your year down into those quarters, into those months, into those weeks, whatever you need to do to make your goals more accessible, make that happen. Layer everything in slowly. Don't try attempt every single one of your goals straight away. And then really build in that accountability where you possibly can. It really is, I think, the secret sauce in making things happen. So now's the time. Go check in on your goals, see how you're tracking so far, and really ask yourself, what from what I've shared today would be the number one thing that would really help you implement and make your goals flow seamlessly and with minimum stress and maximum efficiency for you this year. Thank you so much for joining this week's episode of the Lorraine Murphy Show. As always, I would absolutely love if you could subscribe to the show, because that really, really helps in terms of helping other listeners find the show. And I'm excited to come back to you again next week with next week's episode. Thank you.